Within the first track of the debut album, the crisp, minimal Panda Wonder Girl, featuring Russell Male's falsetto already engaged in swooping acrobatics and Ron Male's sparkling piano work to the fore, singing ever so slightly weird lyrics about love that couldn't quite be taken at face value. Sparks established themselves so perfectly that arguably the rest of the brothers' long career has been a continual refinement from that basic formula. Even more striking is realizing how astoundingly prescient it was. What must have sounded indescribably strange in 1972 now feels like the precursor to nearly all of new wave, a fair chunk of synthpop, and just about any music with a brain. If anything, things are even wiggier this time around. From the naughtily titled sea shanty, which turns into a full-on rockadiva Indian strings plus piano Here Comes Bob, to the album's completely whacked out, dramatic centerpiece Moon Over Kentucky, melodies start approaching the hyperactivity level which would flower completely on the band's subsequent releases. Ron and Earl Mankey trade off a play against each other, while the rhythm section of Jim Mankey and Feinstein executes the kind of sharp tempo changes which would become de rigueur for thrash metal bands of the 80s, but fit in perfectly here with the spastic pop being played. Adding a touch of bubblegum, and even some of Zappa's own song-centric experimentalism to the menu, the Males spruce up a sleazy Sunset Strip with a bevy of Broadway-worthy performances here, as the band expertly revs up the glam rock meets Andrew Lloyd Webber backdrops. Russell sends things into space with his operatic vocals and ever-clever lyrics, with Russell Male delivering the lyrics in his rapid-fire falsetto. The lyric sheet is a necessary compass, as a clever wordplay is a key to discovering what these pranksters are up to. Ron Male's skewed take on relationships at home, at work, at play, don't leave me alone with her, nearly upstaged by the hyperactive arrangements. But when the words and the music click, it's pure magic. In fact, Bon Voyage might be the most sublime song they've ever written, teetering between genuine pathos for lamponing of the plight of those left behind by Noah and his ark. Indiscreet, which was the Male Brothers' third album for Island and the fifth album overall, is state-of-the-art Sparks. The power pop melodies are consistently infectious, and the lyrics are as humorous as one expects Sparks lyrics to be. Nutty gems like Pineapple, Happy Hunting Ground, Tits, and Get in the Swing will easily appeal to those who like to think of Russell and Ron Male as the pop-rock equivalent of Monty Python's Flying Circus. Generally, however, their astutely elaborate arrangements of Indiscreet and go for a powerful, stripped-down sound. His titles such as Everybody's Stupid and Thrown Her Away and Get a New One suggest the album brims with decidedly politically incorrect and often hilarious lyrics. The occasional number does snag your attention for a moment, and the closing Over the Summer is one of the greatest Beach Boys pastiches ever recorded. But we don't look to Sparks for pastiche, we look to them for manic originality, madcap commerciality, and blistering brilliance. And there's just one song here that steps far enough out of the groove to even hint at the brothers' true genius. Goofing Off rides a frenetic violin through a lunatic paean to the joys of, indeed, goofing off, and you can't help wondering if it's also a confession of sorts. One in Heaven surprises by succeeding on an artistic and commercial level despite the fact that neither the Male Brothers nor Moroder tempered the respective idiosyncrasies for the project. Moroder's production is just as dizzying, chunky, and completely rhythm-driven as on his best work with Donna Summer, and the Male Brothers prove on tryouts for the Human Race and Academy Award performance that their bizarre songwriting wasn't compromised. Terminal Jive, the second Giorgio Moroder collaboration of Sparks' career, doesn't have quite the emphasis on Moroder trademarks compared to its predecessor. He has only 2 songwriting credits here, while the Male Brothers take most of them alone. Still, the breakout single When I'm With You and Just Because You Love Me have an ineffable disco stomp, and the requisite cymbal slaps on the offbeat, while Noisy Boys and Stereo have an experimental, laddish feel that looks past disco into 80s synth pop and new romantic.